my name is Beth MacDonald Stone, and I'm an avid knitter and knitwear designer living in Bermuda. I'm coming to you today on a really rainy and thundery day. It's still pretty warm, so I'm going to try my best to keep this sweater on for a little while at the very least. It's actually not too bad. It's I'll get into it, but it's not too bad. It's amazing how some fibers are okay still in kind of warm, damp, high humidity climates. But anyway, so it does get cold here, and I'm hoping that this warm, damp, high humid climate changes over to cool, fresh sweater weather for Bermuda, but that's probably not for another month or so. But anyways, in the meantime, today there'll be different parts of the episode. I'd like to start off with sort of my feature design that's going to be published now when this episode comes out. I'll talk to you about my whips and FOs and the usual, and then I'm going to end with the special fabulous trip to Rhinebeck, New York. That was last 2 weekends ago now. So I'm a little bit slow to the game on that, but I'm trying to stick to a 1 episode a month schedule, but we'll see how that goes, because I find that leaves a lot of pressure on what I talk about and covering everything that happens in a month, which granted, they have been fall months, so they're busy months. But anyways, I'll get into a groove. It'll happen. Right now, it's just once a month. We'll see. So to start with today, I wanted to show a design that I'm publishing or will be published on Ravelry now, and it's called the Starry Starry Night sweater. I've knitted it twice. This one here, they're both using Purl Soho linen quill, which is probably why I'm comfortable wearing it today. There's a very small linen component, so it's not like a summer weight sweater. But it's fingering weight, and it's very, natural fiber, so very breathable. So far, so good. I'm doing well, and I'm not overheating, and really comfortable. And that it is warm, and when you're warm and your pores are more open, if things are prickly, you usually feel it. I'm really comfortable, but that's just me. I don't find this yarn terribly prickly. I really like it. So I designed this sweater in January of last year. Sweater design takes a long time, so I'm getting into the realization that really giving yourself, if you want to rush something out, you can in a couple months, but for a comfortable speed and a comfortable test and a comfortable tech editing before the test, it's actually kind of nice to give it a year. So I really designed this kind of festive, wintry sweater last winter, and I actually wore it, I think, to Vogue Knitting when I was there. So anyways, that's how long it's been in the works. I'm really excited about it. It is a sweater design that it's fitted. So it's fitted in the shoulders and fitted in sort of the upper bust area and fitted in the sleeves. It's designed to be sort of an elegant sweater, something that you could wear to a party or just wear dressed up with a collared shirt or a dress or some sparkly earrings or something like that. In my mind, this isn't necessarily the cozy around the TV kind of put on your sweats and whatever, but you totally could. You do whatever you want to do, but my design concept was to have a more elegant, maybe, festive sweater for parties or for entertaining or whatever. So the design is top down in the round. It is a classic yoke design. It has a fold over neckline because I wanted to have a snug fit on the neck, and in order to allow that to happen, it's folded but with an opening, and I've done a ribbon here. So I think it's really fast. I think that adds a really fun, pretty element to it. I've used a very classic motif, which is the Norwegian rose, or most people call it a star, so Starry Starry Night. Bermuda, we don't have a lot of, what do they call it? It's when there's a lot of lights around, they call it, can't remember. Anyways, our night sky is very, very dark. It's very black, so great for seeing stars. So Starry Starry Night, in my mind, no better place than to look at stars here. I think because of that, we've had observatories down on the east end of the island, which is that way, to do such things because it's so prime. We don't have something pollution, light pollution, is that what it's called? Anyways, we don't have a lot of lights. Oh, funny note on that. We don't have a lot of lights. So my very dear friend, who's now since passed, Mac Musson, she had great stories, and she lived here. She was American, but lived here around the time of the war, and World War II, that is. And she thought it was totally hilarious that at night, we'd have blackout, apparently. So you'd have blackout curtains, but she thought it was hilarious because we had so many stars and so much moonlight, and our roofs are white that they glowed in the dark. And she just thought it was a scream that we all put up blackout curtains. I was long before my time. I don't remember that being discussed before, but yeah, because of the stars and the light in the sky, the natural light, and our reflective white roofs, the blackout curtains weren't going to do a whole lot. But anyway, so there's a funny tidbit there, or adjunct story going along bit of history. But anyway, Starry Starry Night. So folded collar, folded hem, and I give a suggestion on how to do the folds where you, at the point that you want to fold, you thread where your needle is a very slippery yarn, like a tapestry yarn or needlepoint yarn through, so that you can see the purl bumps when you fold the finished edge along to where you want it to terminate onto. There's a really obvious way, and it won't be wavy. You'll have a very clean, obvious line showing you the purl bumps of where to just to do a very loose whip stitch down. Very, very easy. Anyway, so that helps. There's no stress there, because I know when I'm trying to pick up stitches for whatever reason, I can really convince myself, and before I know it, I'm all over the shop. But so this is trying to keep it really simple. Another tester suggested, using a purl bump round at the turning point. So that's an option as well, and I have that in the pattern too. Yeah, so again, I like to enhance shoulders, and I like to enhance my arms, and I like an A-framed in the torso because I find that the most flattering for me. Maybe not for you, I don't know. But for me, that's what works best with how I like to wear things. And so it is designed to have a 0 or negative, very small positive ease or slight negative ease for the shoulders and the sleeves. So everyone's different. People's shoulders are so different. People's arms are so different. People's busts are so different. Everything is so different for people. So this is a pattern where, because we're trying to get a very fitted, very bespoke, very custom styling, very unique fit, I'm giving you a lot of guidelines. I mean, you can knit it from top to bottom and just follow along as you want. But I would be aware that, some test knitters who were very broad shoulders, and I'm pretty broad shouldered, but my shoulders have a slope. This was a lady, well, two ladies that have very, I don't know how to say, I'm not sure, well, very perpendicular shoulders, very, very crisp, clean, beautiful, but square shouldered, where they found they had to go up a size or whatnot for just to fit the shoulders. The other thing is, I would recommend going up a needle size for the color work, because if you at all have attention to have that shrink or have those stitches any smaller, that's going to be a problem again, because this is such a fitted sweater. It's not loose, it's not baggy, you don't have a lot of room to play with. This is meant to be fitted. So you've really got to look at your body and your shape. Similarly, when you come down to the arms, now arm sizes are just as varied as everything else on the body: shoulder sizes, bust sizes, waist shaping, everything. So I would recommend that you look at the pattern. These are fitted sleeves. So before you would start, I would look at the schematic and I would decide, if the schematic for your suggested bust size would be a doable or advisable sleeve size for you. If it's not, I've got options. Oh my gosh, I'm fogging up my glasses. That's funny. Anyways, if it's not, I've got options for you. So you can go up or down a needle in the sleeve. So you can go a larger needle if you want to make the sleeve a bit bigger. You can go a smaller needle if you want to make the sleeve a bit smaller. Do know that most people for small circumferences end up knitting tighter. So definitely, if you're worried that it's going to be too snug a fit, go up a needle size. You can also pick up a few more stitches around in the underarm area. So that's super easy if it's just a minimal adjustment you want to make. If you want to make a broader adjustment, or pick up less, sorry, there's, obviously there's people going in both directions. So you can pick up less stitches, make the sleeve smaller. You can pick up more stitches. And then similarly, if you want a broader or a larger adjustment, then the thing is to knit one size up or one size down, and then maintain the amount of stitches on the body, because the color work doesn't go past the sleeves, so it's not confusing, but maintain the same number of stitches for your body that you've picked, but adjust the stitches for the sleeve. So if you want a much bigger sleeve, knit the neck size up in the body and then put onto whole waist yarn a larger amount of stitches for the sleeves and the recommended stitches for the size down for your torso, and it'll equal out, and you can play around with this shaping to fit you. I'm following recommendations for sizing, and I look at a few different charts for that, but because I'm trying to push design a little bit, push proportions a little bit to be more specific in shaping, they're going to be erring on the smaller end of the recommended sizes. And so know your bodies, that if you have an even smaller sleeve, if your arms are particularly narrow, then be aware of that. So unless you want a baggier sleeve, and if you want a baggier sleeve, do that too, and I'm giving you suggestions on how to do it. But this is a pattern that is not difficult to knit, and I have it as user-friendly from beginner to advanced knitter. But all that I ask you is that you be aware of your body, or the body who is going to wear it, whether it's you or whether it's a gift, and that person's size, shape, etc., so that you get the custom form fitting. And it is I'm going to slide back in my chair so I make it out. It is form fitting to my bust, and then after my bust I've got A-line shaping just gently down the side, so that I like things to, if I wear a dress, or I rarely wear a lot of skirts too, so what I want it to do is just to gently come down my waist and to sit at my hips. I do also, let's see if I can get a little higher here. The chair's gonna flip, isn't it? Whoop, I'm standing on the side of the chair. So yeah, so you can see how it's just a little bit wider. Whoa, that really hurts my feet. Okay, anyways, I'm back down. So that, in my mind, for my body shape, this is a very flattering fit. Lovely snug neck, fitted in the shoulders, very tapered, very fitted sleeves. You can see the fold line not included. And then A-line, gentle A-line for the body. Also, I find with lengths, everyone has different lengths that are, that you're perfect fit. I find that my perfect length of a sweater is around 12 inches from the underarm. This is a higher underarm, so I would take that into account. So maybe 21 inches from top to bottom is kind of my sweet spot. I play around with that with how I want to think about what I'd be wearing these tops with. So again, I have a really specific black dress with a really fun bow waist. It's a pleated skirt, so I can tuck these in the front and have that kind of fun, casual, but like dressy look, And so I keep that in mind with my lengths. I don't like my lengths my torso to be too fitted, because again, I've mentioned I've got tummy issues with bloat, whatever, you don't need to know that. Anyways, I like them to be loose around my waist, and I find where the termination points, you have to be really careful, because I have a tummy, I don't want to circle that tummy, I don't want to highlight that tummy, so I do work on finding either a line that bisects so it doesn't add emphasis to it, or I do a lot of crops because I'm very short-waisted really naturally, like my waist is pretty much really here or here, like literally sort of boob ends, waist begins. Maybe too much information, sorry. So these are all the things that everyone should consider about in every sweater that you knit, but especially ones that are meant to be fitted. Oh gosh, this seam really, it's been folded since last winter. Can't you see it? Gosh, I should have steamed that part. I steamed this sweater, but this seemed fine until I just moved the yarn. Anyways, sorry. So yeah, so really, this is the sweater that I'd love for you all to try, definitely. But I would prefer for people to go into it with some consideration as a bespoke, elegant, fit, that it's a special fit. So a little bit more attention would be needed to make sure it'll fit the wearer in the best way possible, because this is really meant to highlight areas, so fit snugly in areas. So I'm hopefully not turning you off. I'm hopefully exciting you into how to make, or giving you a guide to making something that is perfect for you or the wearer. And so that it's a sort of like a couture piece that you make for yourself. Couture, I mean, that means, when I say couture piece, I always think of incredible detail and stuff. But couture and fit. Couture, bespoke piece that is designed just for you. And that's the thought behind this design. So again, this is Starry Starry Night, and it should be on Ravelry now as this podcast goes live. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. The second, one of my finished objects will be what I'm wearing in the next segment. And that is a version of my Scandi Suri, just a reknit of an old pattern of mine, which I kind of like to do because it's fun. It's fun for me to just make sure that I'm not going off piste, and as in design wise, and also sometimes there was a reason why I designed it and it really ticks a box, and that box I wanted to reknit because I wanted it again. So that you'll see, that's coming up. Another thing that I just finished before traveling, since our last episode, I think I mentioned I was thinking of doing it, which is joining this mystery cowl for Telly Bean Knits. And it's a cowl, and it's, I'm gonna be so hot if I'm gonna put it on for a quick sec. It's kind of a Halloween themed cowl. It's fabulous. I love it. Clearly don't need it right now, but do you see there's like bats and pumpkins and ghosts and skull and crossbones? It's really fantastic. Oh, and there's another pattern up here which I can't remember what that is. I can't see it right now. I did very randomly pick, I'm gonna take it off because it's, well, I'll give it a whirl for a few minutes, but I don't need a cowl today. I think it's 27, 28, 29 degrees with like 95% humidity. So I love a mystery knit along. I was going to do the Stephen West knit along. I didn't want to devote the amount of time for the Stephen West knit along because I do really want to keep up with my designing schedule, and that's just a massive thing to take time-wise. So I believe I showed you my yarn that I was considering, which was from Les Garçons, their summer collection, which was really fun. I was excited about it, but I was really hesitant as to whether I really wanted to devote, because I do find you really need to put aside the month of October for that. And I need to keep going to come up with my concepts for next year, you know, and keep that process ticking along. So when this came along and I sort of started it, it really felt like it ticked the boxes, and I felt like I was joining, you know, a fun mystery every day, and that is exciting to print it out every day. And what's the program for the day and everything. I also liked it because it wasn't a huge amount of yarn commitment, and I have a bunch of minis, as most people do, or leftovers, and I could literally just go through that bin and pick yarn that I thought was sort of autumnal, and yeah, and so I came up with this. I mean, this is just such a mix. I couldn't even tell you what yarn it is. It's all fingering weight. There's a little bit of mohair in there. A lot of it's from Advents for the years gone by. I know that I used a bit of La Bien-Aimée Yellow Brick Road, and I know there's a lot of Ching fiber from their Advents because their colors just really worked for it. It's a great cowl, and I won't wear it this year. Halloween happened last night. It was a bit of a non-event in our house and on our street. It's not huge in Bermuda. People have parties for it, but it's not like neighborhoods. Like I grew up in Toronto with it being massive, where here it's kind of a non-event. But I do love Halloween. And the crazy thing is I forgot it was Halloween yesterday until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So that is the first in my entire life. But this will be fun if I'm traveling. I meant to take it with me, and I forgot to New York, but I didn't need it because it was quite warm up there anyways. So anyways, a really fun. So this is the Telly Bean Knit Mystery Knit Along, and I would definitely do that again. And what is, oh, this is just texture. Sorry, I think it's supposed to be like spider webs. Sorry, I couldn't remember what that was, but yeah, texture. It was a really fun, and it was so manageable every day, where I didn't feel like I was devoting my entire day to maintain, to keep up with the stuff, because I get kind of neurotic and I have to keep up. And so that was great. I didn't feel a huge amount of pressure to keep up, which I did, whatever. Anyway, so that's really fun. So that's that, and the sweater that you'll see next are my two, I guess, big finished objects, unless I'm forgetting something, which it might happen, and it'll probably come up. The great thing is we can talk about it another time, but that's what I remember. What have I got on my needles? When I went on the trip, I knew I was going to be so busy. I mean, the Rhinebeck weekend is such a busy weekend, and it's so much fun. If you can all go, you'll hear about that next. So I knew I didn't need to take a cumbersome sweater. I definitely can't travel with something I'm designing. I literally sit there and knit and run down to my desk, type out what I'm doing, come back and knit the next stage. So it's very not portable. I need to maybe consider thinking about that. I might think of getting a laptop computer, but anyways, that's all too confusing. It hurts my brain how it would work with our existing network, whatever. I'm definitely a routine person. Anyway, so I took a small project and I took this fun sock. Super easy. So I knit this in the week, and for me to knit just one sock in a week tells you that I was busy and having a good time. So this is the Evergreen sock, and you can see there's just a really simple, I didn't want anything too fussy because I knew I'd be like either exhausted or socializing, and I don't really knit when I'm hanging with people. I like the idea, I take it with me sometimes and I hold it in my hand, but I never knit anything. I'm always focused on the conversation. Anyway, so Evergreen socks. And this is by Madeline. Little Mount Knits on Instagram. Little Mount Knits on Instagram and Little Mount Knits on Ravelry. So Evergreen socks, love the pattern. The neat thing about this was in the spring I had ordered the yarn from Kevin of Needles at the Ready when he was really earnestly doing it full time, dyeing. I was so excited, and I saw this this colorway, which is called Autumn Drive, so needles at the ready, Autumn Drive, and ordered, I was hoping to order a full sweater quantity, but it's such a lovely color, it had sold out, except there was one left, so I ordered the one, and it was just perfect to take on a trip to Connecticut and to New York State when I knew I'd see Kevin and Ray and knit lovely little fir trees while hanging out in Rhinebeck. So that was really lovely. I'm not usually that appropriate because it's usually kind of more on a schedule, but I just thought that was really cool and I was really glad to do that. So I'll keep that all in my bag. I'm not a huge knitting bag person. I usually leave things on the table just there, but I love these for traveling, these bagoo bags. I don't know if you can see that. They're very light and slippery, and I've got a bunch for everything from, like, I put my socks in it, I put my undies, I put my knitting patterns. I find because of it, it squishes down, it doesn't take up any space, and it's sort of efficient packing system in my mind. So because it was traveling, it's still in its sort of travel bag. Another work in progress is one that I was really keen to start when I got back. I had to pick up the yarn when I was at Rhinebeck, and that was Daylights from Harrisville Design. This is Nightshade from a couple years ago, and I wanted to partner it with the opposite, which is the Daylights. And I am working, I have a series of sweaters that are all sort of contiguous. So they're top down in the round and contiguous saddle shouldered sweaters. And I wanted to do a graphic striped version. So I've got a sort of a lifeline there in case I wanted to reinforce it so it doesn't stretch. But my idea was to have a mock neck, contiguous, jazzy, black and white striped sweater. So I'm working on that now. It's really fun. It's, I love to design and have a thought or a method and keep on developing and exploring that. So this sort of contiguous design I've done in a number of different patterns, from the Patience pullover to the color play pullover, which is great for advent calendars and playing with color, to the VZ Street vest, which is just a vest, but it's still the contiguous design, styling, shaping, sorry, in the round front top down. So yeah, so this is just another version of that. And as I'm knitting it, I think it would also be really amazing as a vest. So I'll work on this as a sweater with full-length sleeves first. It's going to be a warm one, probably a perfect ski sweater. And then next, maybe I'll do a vest design of similar to that as well. Also depends on how much yarn I have left, because we'll just see how much it needs. And I only have one chunk of the Daylights that I just purchased, where the Nightshades, I'm a black lover, and so when it came out a couple years ago and there were all the shades of black, I thought that was really groovy. So I've got a bit of a stash of that. But anyway, so that's in the cards now. And I'm trying to think what else is there to tell you. I think that's pretty much it. I will go into the Rhinebeck portion of the episode, where I'll tell you all about the trip, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so the Rhinebeck weekend, or the New York New York sheep and wool, just blanked on that one. Anyways, what a great weekend that was. I actually went from Bermuda to Westchester on the Wednesday before, flying on a new airline called Bermuda Air. Really amazing. It was great. And the great thing is it flies into Westchester, which is north of the city, Manhattan. So I went for a night to visit a good friend and her kids who used to live in Bermuda in Weston, Connecticut. That was really fun. Always great to hang out with them. Took them lots of good Bermudian junk food, or really, well, British chocolate and Bermudian popcorn. And Bermuda people like popcorn with yeast flavoring. It's not for me, but and my friends love it. So I had an empty suitcase, so I filled it with chocolate and popcorn, and they were thrilled. So that was really fun. So Thursday, I had rented a car from Westchester, so basically from my friend's house in Weston, I drove to Mount Kisco. Sorry, pick up every stitch in Mount Kisco. What a great store. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Such a great space, really nice light, big windows, really fantastic. The owners seem amazing. Karen and Felicia, met them. So there was a really fun event there, which was just such a neat entry into the fun and festivities of the weekend. As soon as I walked in, I saw Kelly from the Tangled Stitch, which was really funny because I had woken up really early in the morning and was watching Knits and Pieces. So I said to Kelly, oh my gosh, I just had coffee with you this morning, but you didn't know it. Anyway, so seeing Kelly and Noelle there was amazing. And Noelle's been really creative with her daughter, who's a graphic designer. And I don't know if you saw on their podcast, but Noelle and her daughter have designed these really fun greeting cards, so all sweater related. So she gave me a package and I'm thrilled with them. But one is sending you a little love note. And there's the picture of the love note. Isn't that adorable? Or another one, Ms. Serena loves company. So how fun. I can't wait to figure out who I'm going to send notes to using these. There's more in here. But anyway, so clever. And Noelle, I hope you maybe sell them or something, because they're very clever, really cool. Anyways, really neat to see them. Also at Pick Up Every Stitch was the Knitting Posse, who I knew were going to be there. We had arranged to see each other there, which was amazing. And Mega from, oh my gosh, I love her podcast, and I was just writing with her. Skeins of Dreams. I'm so sorry, Mega. That's, gosh, I must not have had, my coffee must have been too many hours ago. I'll have to take another coffee soon. Anyways, Mega of Skeins of Dreams, that was a real treat, because we had been texting back and forth since I published my first episode on the YouTube, and I really appreciated her feedback, so that was really nice to meet her in person. Rebecca Clow from the Crea Bea, and Amy Palco from the Meaningful Stitch, who I just love following. And Kevin and Ray, and it was just such a lovely, exciting, definitely the kickoff to the weekend, but exciting in the sense that we knew we're all gonna have fun, and we were with our people, It was just wonderful, and I met a lot of other people there. I met Rochelle, who was doing a trunk show for her lovely yarn company. Shoot, I'm so bad with names, and I'm trying to not read off of notes. The last time, I don't know if you noticed, I was terrified. My first episode had a lot of views, and so I wrote notes, and I literally read them. Sorry, Luna's taking control of the neighborhood. I literally read notes the last one, so I'm trying to make this more natural and organic and relaxed. And let me just get Luna. There's a little groan. She's very happy, but she's back in her bed and cuddling up. It's a gloomy day here in Bermuda, really pouring with rain, what we'd call a good tank rain day. Anyways, that's another story. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But yeah, so I was really nervous, and so I'm trying not to have notes. I will have notes when I'm talking about specific sweaters and yarns that I don't, have the tags in front of me, because as you can see, I'm really bad with names. So anyways, back to Pick Up Every Stitch in Mount Kisco was really fun. It was like the warm-up party in my mind, and I was totally down for it. I love this weekend, so, anyways. So ironically, before I left Bermuda, I really wanted to re-knit one of my patterns called the Patience Pullover. I think I worked really hard on the pattern, the color work chart. It's kind of edgy, it's a bit rock and roll, and I didn't think it got enough attention when I put it out. And I'd like to re-knit it in different colors so that there's different, options, and I really, really love that sweater, so I really want to knit that. So I've been kind of doing some research, like what would be my goal yarn for that. And I kept on going back to John Arbor Appledore. And I was like, I'm going to an American, you know, event. I'm not going to find John Arbor Appledore anywhere. I mean, who am I kidding? And I even kind of looked up to see if I was anywhere near any of the US stockists online, and I couldn't really see anything. It wasn't very clear. So I kind of was like, well, I'll look, but chances are not. Anyways, I'd pick up every stitch. My first stop, they had John Arbor Appledore, which I'm thrilled, so excited. I mean, the marling of colors in this yarn, yeah, I think you can see it. Like I said, it's really gloomy out today, which actually is probably helpful for color. Anyway, so I am totally in love with this yarn and really keen to cast on this Patience pullover, which I will do just as soon as I finish the socks I was knitting on that trip. I had like one thing off, one thing on, which is kind of a pain. It's kind of loading me down. But so when I was there, it was really fun. I got a whole bunch of people to help me pick my secondary color. This was my first choice, and quite rightly, it's pretty close in colorway. So I don't think that the pattern, the color work motif, which I just think is so cool and a bit rock and roll, just won't show. So this was selected instead. So this is from his Yarnadelic collection, but I think the I'll do it there so you can see how the color work will be in this kind of mustard, and the sweater itself will be in this, it's kind of like a green, but it's got all the colors. So it could read brown, it could read pinky, it could read green, really, this really cool color. So I'm really excited with that. And oh my gosh, what was my luck? The first stop, I hit my, oh my gosh, if I could buy any yarn, this would be the yarn that I was going to buy, but from England. And it was then the first stop in Mount Kisco, New York. So amazing. So that was really fun, hang out with everyone for quite a while, a lot longer than I had planned. I'd actually thought that I'd be up in Rhinebeck town, which is where I was staying. I was sort of shooting for 4, but I don't even think I left Pick Up Every Stitch until just close to 4. So that was a mad dash, and I had dinner scheduled up there with friends, and now I'm losing, it's been a week and I'm already losing track of, I was scheduled to have dinner with the knitting posse, Kate, Laura, and Kim, and Needles at the Ready, Kevin and Ray. So we'd all been to Pick Up Every Stitch, and we were meeting up there. Now, I don't usually pick the fastest route to drive, so I didn't really realize that there was quite a difference between the avoiding big motorways and just going there directly. So I barely made it for the whatever dinner at 6:30 or 6 o'clock or whatever, and they were there in lots of time. So that's pretty funny, but whatever. I had a beautiful drive, very scenic, and you know, the trees and everything, beautiful. So put on a podcast and off I go. So I was happy, but yeah, it was pretty funny. Anyways, dinner was amazing. We went to a really great Italian restaurant that I love called Gigi's, right in the center of Rhinebeck, and it's just great. They have an amazing gluten-free pizza. I'm unfortunately gluten-free. They've got the Bianco pizza is just like amazing. But everyone had different things, and everything was tasty, and we just, you know, a ton of fun, lots of laugh, and oh my gosh, great group. So that's Thursday. It was a really good sort of entry into all the fun and festivities. Friday morning, I was going to Cake Palooza. And I love Cake Palooza. It's a really more intimate event. There's a really nice number of vendors. I don't even know how many, but you know, really good number of them. Many are familiar to me, and fun to see the people, of course. So I always look really forward to that. There was a bit of drama because the people I was kind of traveling with, my girlfriend was flying in with her daughter from the UK, and while I was having fun at dinner the night before, she had gotten to JFK and realized that she didn't have her driver's license with her, so she couldn't rent a car, so she had to get on the train, and you know, anyway, so there was it was kind of like a fluster, and I was meeting another girlfriend who lives in Bermuda, but she'd been traveling. So anyways, it was when we all kind of congregated at Cake Palooza, it was with great relief that it all happened. And yeah, and I was just kind of zoned out. It was also really raining hard and really dark, not unlike today. Anyways, but yeah, so I couldn't see much, and I was sort of in a fluster, I think, just with everything that had happened, and I just, whatever. And that's really where I usually like to do a lot of my shopping. So this year I actually didn't do a lot of shopping there, but it was really great to see people and chat. And yeah, it's always a really Cake Palooza. Definitely, if you're thinking of going to join the Rhinebeck weekend events, Cake Palooza is what I would say is now, it's definitely my number one. Definitely. Of all the other, well, except for a new one, which we'll talk about, which was Saturday night, but of the day events, it's definitely my favorite. So Cake Palooza, ooh, thunder, can you hear that? It's quite a rainy day. So what I was talking about, tank rain. In Bermuda, we are not on water mains. There's something called Watlington water, which is desalinized that you can be on, but you don't want to drink it. It's not potable. It's good for toilets, that. But basically, we get all our water from our roofs, and it goes into tanks that we hold. So when it rains nicely, and there's not a lot of wind to blow it off your roof, it goes down. That's why the roofs are stepped, and those steps work like conduit, and then funnel the water into tubes on the side of the house, and then into, or building or garage or like any structure. People, old-fashioned houses have them like tanks on the side of a hill. You'll see like a bumpy white washed area. But yeah, it's whitewashed. You have to maintain it because of course that's what you're going to drink. And then it goes into a tank, and yeah, so when it rains and there's not a lot of wind to blow it off your roof, and it goes down onto your roof and into your tank, that's called a tank rain, and we love that because that means that we don't have to worry about how long our showers are or, wasting water. So, and historically our tanks weren't very big. My house has been added onto, but our original tank was really small, so we had to be really conservative with our water. Now we've got a much bigger roof line and a bigger tank. So, it's been great. Yeah, so that's a big part of Bermuda life. There you go. Anyways, back to Cake Palooza. I really wanted to purchase something from Gina of Scandi Cane. I think her yarn is always so much fun. So I found this sock yarn, Huga Light. It's really fun. I love the zebra aspect, and the colors are amazing. So I maybe do a sock, or maybe do, I don't know, whatever. It'll just go into the stash. That was really cool. And Tanny Casey. I love seeing Tanny. She's so talented. She's from Toronto. She went to a high school that I did night school in. It's a small world. And so I always love to see her and her husband Brian. They're always so much fun, and she's such a talented sewist. So Tanny, lovely, beautiful, generously gave me this lovely little pouch, and I have one other one, and I love to use these when I travel with my hair clips, any jewelry, earrings, whatever, and it just feels so precious and special, and so thank you, Tanny. But Tanny is really talented, so everyone should follow her and her work if you don't already. Tanny Casey Designs, I believe. The other person that's at Cake Palooza, well, there's so many people at Cake Palooza that I love to see. Forever Yarn Doylestown, Yan Kwan. She's amazing. She's such an amazing store owner and part of the community of knitting. I enjoy seeing her every year. So I was trying to do shopping with her, but I'll definitely do some online or whatever. It was just dark, and I was sort of frazzled with everything that had kind of gone on in the last, evening, the day, just having it all work out with all my friends. So she's really great. Delphina, Sophie, she's always there with her bags, and historically I like to purchase from her, but I couldn't see the forest with trees. Fashion School Dropouts, always so much fun. Asylum Yarns is there. And I bought this yarn from Gina from Scandi Cocaine on the Yarn Birds truck, which is always really cool too. So there's a ton of people there. Knit Collage, the lovely, I think it's Tuft. I usually buy stuff there too. I was sort of frazzled, but an amazing group. Definitely, if you're thinking about it, go to Cake Palooza next year. After Cake Palooza, and because my friends we'd all been kind of like, they were exhausted. One had come in from Europe, one had come in from England, which I guess is Europe. But anyway, so they'd all had really long flights, and so we were hungry and tired. So we went and had a fun lunch in a diner off the highway. It was really cool. Caught ourselves. We weren't racing to get to Woolen Folk, which was great. actually worked in our favor. We got into Catskill, the town, and it was tipping with rain. It was totally pouring, and it was, you know, when it's raining and you're driving, the world gets really sort of small and close, and I had the document on what to do with parking, but I couldn't really read it, and Priscilla was trying to look, my friend from England, and but we were driving down the main drag and a car pulled out, so we just parked on the main drag. It was raining, and I know in Bermuda if you park during the rain, the police aren't out taking tickets, so we you know, we didn't really even know how long we were supposed to be there, or we really didn't know anything. We just bumbled along. We parked on the main drag and just walked down 2 blocks. The event, as everyone's talked about, was pretty chaotic. We couldn't figure out anything on even where to enter, where to go, what to do, whatever. So we just kind of went to a building with the door because it was pouring and we were getting wet. So that's how we got into Woolen Folk. We all had tickets. It was all totally legit, but it was just chaos, and went in there. I'm not great with crowds, which is why my friend Priscilla, the gal from the UK, who's actually French, but anyways, she knows that, and she's so good with me. So it was like Priscilla, her daughter, and me following behind her, and Priscilla is really good at looking at things, and so I just kind of followed behind and made my way through, and actually I saw a lot. I don't think I would have seen anything if I'd been on my own and at my own will, because I would have just been completely turned off with all the crowds and everything. It seemed chaotic, but the vendors were so polite and cheerful and professional, and we really didn't have much of a clue other than, wow, this is really jam-packed, and it reminded me of years gone by. Anyways, but it wasn't until later that I really heard the story, which everyone has heard it, and I'm not going to go into. If you want to go into it, definitely watch Irina Shar's Fiber Chats. She does a great episode where she interviews 3 vendors. Gina from Skein Cocaine does a really good one on her insights of it, of the event. So check out those for more details on Woolen Folk. It was chaotic. It was unfortunate and too bad, because the organizer had it made in the shade, I think, if it had been equally successful as the year before, but just clearly the organization wasn't there. So anyway, but because I was behind Priscilla, and she's so good at crowds, and I, you know, just followed behind, I did quite well there. And because there were so many people, I kind of just went inwards and didn't really worry about what was going on around me, and I followed Priscilla, and I could actually see things. Weird, I know. We all behave differently in crowded situations, but that's how I was. And so I found some interesting yarn. So there was a booth from the UK, I think from Ireland. They had Life in the Long Grass and some other things. And I'm not going to be really good with remembering the booth names or the vendors and stuff unless it's literally on the tag, so apologies. But someone from Ireland had this spectacular yarn called Townhouse Yarn, and it's hand dyed on toothy 100% lamb's wool. So it's fingering, hand dyed on lamb's wool. And I knit with everything. So I can't say that I'm more of a person that prefers rustic yarns over super wash, but they all have their charm and they all have their purpose. And I just thought this was really spectacular for a beautiful hand dyeing job on non-superwash yarn. So that was really cool. Townhouse Yarns. It's called Ola number 2. Really excited about that. So I don't know what that's going to be, but it just, both Priscilla and I sort of jumped at that. We really wanted to see the guys at Les Garçons. Always a big fan of theirs. And I was also excited to see the yarn from Walcott. I'd been to the yarn store in Bath a year ago and purchased some yarn for the pressed flowers shawl, which I knit twice and made it into a blanket. But I was really keen to try their lighter gauge yarn. So it's called Opus, and I bought these 2 colors. I thought they were spectacular. So I bought Spellbound and Blacklight. And I'm designing a sweater right now, which is where I sit right here and do most of my knitting there, desk work down in my office. But I'm designing a vertically striped sweater right now, which I'll talk about tomorrow. Or in my, I'm going to film this in 2 parts, whether it's this afternoon or tomorrow, but you'll see it all in one show. Anyways, whether I do it in that same sort of concept, that same design, I'm not sure. But I just love these colors together, and they were sitting together on a shelf, and I thought, they just sort of struck me as I walked in the room. So I'm really excited about that. So, and neat to see Max and Vincent. And also at that stand was Jonathan from Jonathan's Days. So that was really neat to meet him, and Carmen from A Yarn Story. But it's so hard to sort of meet and chat because everyone's so busy, but was happy to see they were busy. Lovely to see them. Another yarn that I was just, again, falling behind Priscilla is Seven Sisters Artist. And I think they were above Les Garçons and Walcart Yarns in the same building. It's a real blur how everything fit together. And I have a funny feeling we missed some areas too. But it was a zoo. Anyways, so above them was a very narrow hall with like 2 or 3 vendors, and it was quite a wiggle to see them and quite a wiggle to get back out. But I did get stopped in front of this yarn, and I thought it was spectacular, and I really thought it looked like the sea here, especially off our South Shore, which is right there. And I'm really looking forward to knitting something with this, and I think it'd have to be very simple because I think the colors do so much. And I have a simple design that I've been working on for a long time, and I'll tell you more about that in the future. It's kind of a cool concept where it's one design to be knit at any gauge, and it's all set in 2 gauge increments, so 12 stitches per inch, 12 stitches per 4 inches, 14 4 inches. Anyways, so the idea, so that it's going to take me a while for that to come out, just because of I know all the math and everything like that. It's just writing it all up and test knitting it. So that's kind of something down the road. But I thought, because that's a really simple sweater, that this yarn would be spectacular, and the colors amazing. I love it. Like, look at it, purples and blues and mossy greens like the Sargasso Sea. Really, really amazing. So that's really cool. I feel kind of gross showing all this yarn purchases to you, but again, I live in Bermuda. There's no yarn stores here. So this is kind of one of my main purchasing trips. So please see, treat that as you will. Again, no yarn shop here. So, and I won't be going anywhere for a while. Anyways, so another yarn that I found when I was at Vogue Knitting and didn't do anything about because I was overwhelmed in the crowd, the usual, was Mota by Wool Dreamers. And so we kind of came on their stall. I kind of got stuck in front of it for a minute, and I just love this neutral gray. I know I have a huge deficit in the bulkier weight yarns for my inventory because I do tend to pick up fingering weight. Fingering weight appeals to me, but I do like to knit with bulkier weights. So I picked up a sweater's quantity of this Mota, and I'm excited to knit with it. I think it's really cool. This would be something where I might have more of a texture in the design, whereas this would be a simpler design. You need to have some options. And then finally, on the way out, we were in another building and we came across the Wandering Flock. I do love the Wandering Flock. They're really good with, Geraldine there is amazing with colors, and I love the idea of having a really like a gray neutral base to carry along with this so that the colors sort of pop through. So having good mohair options is something that I'm always looking for my stash. So seeing that booth and just grabbing that was really great. Very excited about that. So that was Wool and Folk, and by the time we got through, it was hot. I was wearing a raincoat, which they're not the most breathable things. My friend Priscilla's daughter was so patient. I think Priscilla had promised her a candy apple at Rhinebeck if she they cooperated, you know, and she was amazing. It was really fun. So that was great. But we were tired and hot and sort of had enough. So from there we went on. I was catching up with my other friend who had kind of lost after lunch because we both came at Wool and Folk from different angles. I had lost my other friend Irina. So we were catching up over dinner, which is so much fun because it's sit down, relax, chat. And it's funny, she lives just a couple miles down the road, but I usually spend more time with her when we're traveling, which is such a shame. But she lives a really busy life, and I would say I do too, but I don't really. Anyways, so that was really fun. So Wool and Folk, kind of a bust of an event, but thank goodness for my friend Priscilla. I did quite well, and happy to support the vendors because there was a bunch of really amazing, super talented ones. Also at Wool and Folk was Lamb and Kid. I knew in advance that it was going to be absolutely mental at the Lamb and Kid. Well, we went through it twice because Priscilla has a hard time because she's over in the UK. She worked it out and she's better at that, where I had done an order and a pre-order before, so I was fine with the Lamb and Kid. I wanted to talk with other people. I saw Andrea from, and I'm so sorry, Andrea, I can't remember your podcast. I'm really sorry, I'm not good at names and everything. But that was such a great thing to see Andrea from California. But otherwise, I didn't really run into that many people there because it was just such a zoo, and I think I was kind of head down and just kind of coping, if that makes sense. So it wasn't a terribly social event for me, which was a shame. That the social side is definitely my highlight, but you know, it was busy, it was hectic, it was chaotic, and so that's sort of what I do when it's like that. I just head down and focus and follow the leader. Anyways, so lovely dinner that night with a friend. It was really quiet. We went to Terrapin. Terrapin in Rhinebeck is another really good restaurant. It's a converted church. Highly recommend it. I go every year, and actually with this friend Irina, we go, we sit, we chat, and take a load off and really enjoy our meal. So Terrapin, definitely. And then, like I said, Gigi's, the Italian place before that. There's another restaurant I usually go called the Amsterdam. It's really good in Rhinebeck, and I know there's tons more. I mean, it's such a fruit belt, isn't it, up there with amazing food options, fresh veggies, and just really good. So I don't think you can go wrong up there. So enjoyed that, and then it was Saturday, and that is the big event, Rhinebeck Sheep, or New York Sheep and Wool. Oh, there goes Luna. Hey, Looney. So Rhinebeck, ooh, thunder. Oh, I think she wants to go outside, but I think she just changed her mind. She's going back to her bed. That was a big clap of thunder. What's going on? Yeah. Oh, the rain's coming inside, is it? Okay, well, we just need the air because the sweater's hot. Okay, and then I'll close the door. Yes. So Saturday was amazing. I do love Rhinebeck, and it can be really crowded too, but it's like building by building, and then you get out of the building and you have space. So it's really, I find, manageable. It was raining again, so I did, I drove over when I was just I was in walking distance, but you know, I knew that if I had purchases, it'd be very hard to walk in the rain with an umbrella and do all that. So I drove over, and because of the rain, I think people were slow to arrive, so I don't think that was a problem. And Rhinebeck itself is just so much fun. I mean, I just love to poke about and, messages coming through. Anyways, I just love to poke about, and I got there before my friends, so I very happily to wander and see what I see. I have sort of favorite vendors that I like to visit. I kind of did most of that, mooched about, ran into Kelly and Noelle again, and did a fun little quick podcast with them between rain showers, and that was always fun. And everywhere I went, really, I kept on running into them, which is neat because we definitely have similar taste in yarn and all that good stuff. I wore this sweater, and I'm going to tell you about this now because I actually am totally overheating. I knit this sweater right before the trip because I kind of wanted to wear one of my designs each day, a different design each day. So one day I wore this. Sorry, phone. Oh, it's been got. One day I wore this, which is my Soncy with a twist, which actually I think is what I wore the first day of Rhinebeck. This was really great. I love it. And so this pattern is out, and I'll probably put an addendum on the pattern sometime for the little braid, which you could put anywhere. It's funny, I noticed as I was wearing it, I wear a crossbody bag, so my bag usually comes over that shoulder. So if I did it again, I might actually put the twist or the braid on that side, whatever. It's great. So that was really fun. One day, actually I wore this the second day at Rhinebeck, which was a Sunday. And this is just a new version of my Scandi Suri Popover. It's really fun. I use the brushed alpaca from Sandnes Garn, and it's a really fun, quick knit. And I'm really into these colors, this sort of gray, charcoal, navy with hot pink and sort of an orange red. I find it really exciting color combination, and I really wanted to have fun with that. So this is the Scandi Suri Popover. This is Soncy, and I'm calling it Soncy with a twist, but the twist part hasn't come out. It will. I wore another sweater to the a Pick Up Every Stitch that's going to be released in the new year, which is really fun, and just currently the test knit's starting for that. And one other day I just wore the Soncy, which is another purple one, similar to this, just without the braid. Really fun. So I really enjoyed that. So back to Rhinebeck. After seeing Noelle and Kelly, I've been trying to avoid one of the barns that has brown bunny pottery. I love the pottery, and for years I've been telling myself, don't be ridiculous, Beth. The last thing you need when you're traveling on an airplane is ceramics to carry back with you. So I was avoiding it, and Kelly and Noelle and their friend definitely knew the product, and they were like, oh, it's so nice. And so after I left them, I went over, and they still had a few things left. So this is what caught my attention, and I think this is supposed to be a bunny, but to me it looks like a lamb as well, and it's sort of I guess you would put utensils in it. My utensil jar has a crack in it, so perfect. Had to have it. I love it. And then as I was waiting in line to check out, this little vase was sitting there, and I just couldn't help myself. Sorry, I've hurt my finger, so I'm not flashing anything in the bird. It's just it hurt the finger. I'm just holding it straight. Anyways, so this vase, and perfectly it fit inside. So when I traveled, it was nested, so it was no extra. It was self-protected, so tick boxes everywhere. So ding ding. So that was neat. I've finally done that, and I think in the future I might indulge, because the artist is so good, and she only bends from events. I don't think she ships, and it's so special. I really love it. So that was really fun, and the line was long and slow, which at first I thought, long line. But again, because I'm not huge about crowds, in a line you just sort of stood there, chatting people around you, and watched the world go by. It was fine. I kind of enjoyed that. Didn't do too much other purchases at Rhinebeck. I've never worked with Lola Bean yarn, and I noticed her stuff, her products were there, so I wanted to try it out. So I bought a sweater's quantity. This is a DK weight, definitely my colors, as you can see, gray, purple, pink, whatever. So I'm really excited about that. Again, like I said, my stash is very empty on the DK worsted and up. DK and worsted is what I do really like to knit with, so there was an effort made on my part to purchase a few things, and I do really like the look of plied hand spun yarns, and this just really caught my attention. Again, I'm such a theme person, but this really caught my attention. That I think this was sort of like a color way or a mixture of colors for the Rhinebeck event from Primrose. And I just thought that was really beautiful and really special. Like I literally saw that from the walkway looking in. So one skein of those, I think that could be so much fun in a yoke or something. And then when I was there, my friend Irina Shar from Fiber Chats had mentioned to me when we had chatted that morning that I should look out for an amazing book that she saw in the bookstore. So it's called The Knitting Pattern Writing Handbook by Christina McGrath and Sarah Walworth. So I beelined after seeing Irina. I beelined, and this might have been a purchase on Sunday. So I'm mixing Saturday and Sunday. I beelined my way right to pick this up because I'm fascinated by any tidbits and information. The other thing I did when I was there is I'm interested in maybe learning to spin. So I ran into Lorian and Shannon from Sumner and Shannon from Whiskey and Wool. And Shannon is a prolific and very talented spinner. And so I kind of cornered her and questioned her about spinning wheels and should I start with treadle, like with the pedals, or would it be okay just to go right to electric? I'm looking for something small, and anyways. So she gave me her 2 cents, and that was really helpful, and I'm really grateful for it. And so I kind of walked around and browsed, and a lot of these little ones I've got all sorts of, cards and stuff, are mostly electric for the small sizes, but I came across this Athena spinning, and it's a little treadle wheel, and I'm kind of thinking that I might, maybe in the new year, give that one a whirl, because it's small, it's pretty, beautiful, and yeah. I'm gonna pause right here. I've got to take the sweater off, and I'll come back to the one more event. So hold on 2 seconds. Okay, I feel a little underdressed. I'm literally just in a sundress now, but I hope you don't see that I'm perspiring heavily. Anyways, so I've now mixed Saturday and Sunday of Rhinebeck, but Saturday's always busier, Sunday's always quieter. Saturday I did spend some time in the hill. I didn't spend a lot. It was really fun. I saw Amanda from Sweet Skein of Mine. She'd driven down from Fredericton, New Brunswick, so that's neat. I went to university in Sackville, New Brunswick, and I'd driven down to New York City before from there. So I knew it was a long drive, but I think Fredericton gives you an advantage, and also just going to Rhinebeck rather than the city is great. But yes, it really neat to see her and her friends and some other really amazing. Oh, I met Michelle from Willens and Nosh, and I loved talking to her about the process of dyeing the multicolored sock striping yarns that she's so amazing at. So that's fascinating, and I blew my mind. So neat to meet with her and stuff like that. And obviously kept on running into the Knitting Posse girls, kind of on purpose. We were catching up when we could. Everywhere I went, I ran into Megan, Amy Palco, and Rebecca Clow, and it's just so nice to be there, and it's a buzz and a community, and it's our people. So it was just a really neat sort of weekend, and Rhinebeck itself is no exception. I don't spend a lot of time on the hill, because I find that feels a little contrived a bit. I do like to actually spend more time chatting with people, and I find the hill there's a lot of like, let me take a picture and off you go kind of thing, where I'd really rather just chat and hang out and maybe see less people, but have a more substantive conversation. Again, my approach to crowds too. Anyway, so yeah, the hill was fine, but I like just walking around. And I like seeing and talking to people casually and in passing. That's just so great. Over the whole weekend, some people introduced themselves to me as they'd tested it for me in the past, which was so great. Neat because we'd had some correspondence over testing, so that's always so cool. And just that's what I like. Just you're the natural, organic kind of nothing. God, sorry, I really overheated there. So then I had one more event before we left on Sunday. And that was called A Woolen Affair, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to go. It had been a long weekend of so many events and stuff, and I kind of hit my max, whatever. But I was in the elevator, and some friends. I didn't really want to drive there because I had had a glass of wine after Rhinebeck, just enjoying time with a friend. So I was kind of like almost settled into not going. And then I was on the elevator and with two friends that I had just met, friends of Irina Shar, and they said, "Do you need a ride?" And I said, "Oh, okay, sure." So off I go. I had a ticket and went to a woolen affair. And a woolen affair was fantastic. Totally up my street. It was a really cool farm event situation, just 10 minutes up the road from Rhinebeck itself. There was a cool barn with a bar and some really fun drinks, mixed drinks that were sort of witty plays on, you know, knitting and the fun weekend and the fun crafty world. There was great live music and great people, and so that was put on by Catherine from Brooklyn General, and I think Paula from Mayak was involved too, and there might have been other people involved, but that was such a treat because that's kind of what woolen folk, the flavor of woolen folk was the year before. And I was totally there for it. There was a few, La Bien-Aimée was there too. So the vending was sort of light. It was more about hanging out, having a drink, maybe dancing, sitting down by a fire pit, which was so cool. We have had no reason to have a fire yet this year, as you can tell. I'm still in a sundress. So that was really great to sit out by a fire pit or hang out. And there was tables and chairs everywhere to hang out and really, truly chat with people. So that was really great. I did a teeny bit of shopping at La Bien-Aimée because I got there I walked over at one point and there was no one at the table. So I could literally look at the whole collection at my leisure, which was what a treat and a gift. And that was neat. I was also there with another great friend who was very much involved behind the scenes of this event, and that's Jackie Duvall of Knit Peace Love. And so really had fun with her. Big hugs to Jackie. Always fun hanging out. We tend to get together a couple times a year, and so that was a real highlight for me that night, to sit and chat and hang out with her and meet her friend Daniel, and sit and chat with Amy of La Bien-Aimée and her really good friend, and I can't remember her name, and I'm so sorry, but she was very interesting from the West Coast of the States, living in Paris. Anyways, just you get a chance to really have a chat. So like went and sat at a table and chatted with Amy Palco and was able to ask my dumb questions on and goddess, her focus of goddess and goddess readings and things like that. I still like to spend more time with her to understand more, but that was where you could have a meaningful discussion with people and really truly get to know someone and or get to know them better, and I really appreciated that. So a woolen affair was wonderful. It was a really perfect way to sort of end the end of my event trip. So when I did go back to Rhinebeck the next day, it was a quick whirl around and in the car. So when I had that time at the La Bien-Aimée booth, I noticed this yarn, which is Felix, which is not new. There was new yarn there, new releases, and they looked amazing. I can't tell you what they were. They looked amazing, beautiful as ever. But earlier that day, I had seen Yan, and she was wearing an amazing sweater. Again, can't remember the name, but it was done with Felix held double, and Felix was definitely on my mind. And holding double, it had a really interesting, like, physical depth and dimension. Like usually when you hold yarn double, it looks like one, but in Yan's sweater with the Felix held double, it literally looked double layered in a way. Whether that's how she knit it, I'm not sure, but I was very keen on the La Bien-Aimée, the Felix, and I'd never seen this colorway, so I thought that was spectacular. And I can see me knitting a sweater with the Felix held double, and then maybe some fun edges or details in the Kumo Light. So Kumo Light is their Suri Baby brushed alpaca, but I think in a much lighter weight than their regular Kumo, which for those that who have problems with mohair. Oh God, where that word left the building. So people who have problems with mohair, and I know Suri has, baby Suri is usually very thick and changes the dynamic of a design. If designed originally with mohair that you're substituting, this might be a really good other option because it's very light. So anyways, so that was really good. And then I also found it in the Winterfell, which this depth of blue, green, neutral, it's just, oops, so beautiful. And again, good to have in stash. So it was such a wonderful weekend. I did break the bank, as lovely Kevin and Ray would call it, and but that was kind of intentional. I had gone with the intention of stocking up in certain areas and looking for certain things and looking for special things, because again, I don't know when I'm next able to be at a yarn store, you know, and I really do have an inventory downstairs in my office. And one day I might show you. It's organized and for my brain, not for everyone's. But that does bring me on to one topic. And maybe this is going to be a long episode, and I'm really sorry. Hopefully that's okay for you, and hopefully you've got a good project to knit. But a topic that I have wanted to discuss, and that is chronicling or cataloging your yarn stash. For me, that's really important because I have it put away because of bugs. We have moths here, but we also have cockroaches. But I think it's relatively okay, but it is organized. Most is put away, some is out to sea. And also when I'm purchasing yarn, I'm never at home. I'm not in Bermuda. So I use Ravelry, and I put, and I'm also kind of sort of embarrassed to say this, so I don't really want you guys to sort of check out my stash, but go ahead, whatever. But what I'm trying to say is I put everything on Ravelry, and therefore I know what I have. And when a pattern comes out, I can see what my options are, how much I have of any given skein. When I'm away and I'm thinking, oh, I have quite a deficit in the worsted DK, I can cross-reference that, see, like right now I only have one sweater's quantity in worsted, which is a black, and I knew I needed some colors and stuff, so I got a gray. But you know, it's really helpful. Or I know earlier this year when I was traveling, when Shibui decided to stop, I happened to be traveling with my husband and son, so I didn't have a lot of time. But I saw Shibui Silk Cloud on sale, and I could cross-reference what I had, so I'm not duplicate buying or adding to my inventory. I find it incredibly helpful coming at it from so many different ways. So knowing what I have when I'm traveling and where my holes are in my stash, knowing all the possibilities and all the different permutations that I can think of when a pattern is released and I want to, you know, knit it, because I just can't go to the store, so I have so much downstairs, and there's so many different ways of looking at it. So by having it on Ravelry, I can sort of say, okay, well, in sheer weight, I have these options. If I were to put two fingering together, I've got these options. You know, I can filter it when I'm looking for things. I can filter it by yardage, so most yardage first, least yardage first. I can filter it by weight, by color. I haven't been that great at entering the colors because sometimes it's so complex. Like, you know, of course you would put this as sort of, I'd say ivory with multicolored, but the color thing is not what I use that much, so that goes with the photos. But I can't tell, and I know it sounds really tedious to enter it, and I kind of enjoy it. Like what I usually try to do is when I'm in a hotel before returning, or wherever I am before returning to Bermuda, I kind of like to take the moment and have a coffee and enter everything before I get home. So when I get home, I can literally just put my purchases away and know that they're not lost. And then it's done. You get home and you're, you know, off to the races. So I can't recommend that enough. The other fun thing that when my friend Priscilla used to live in Bermuda, she would could access my she couldn't physically access, but she could see what I'd have. And so if she was short something, she could say, "Oh, Beth, I see you have this. Can I borrow? I'll reimburse it when we next travel or whatever." And like when you live in Bermuda, for sure, take my 2 skeins of this, and we'll figure it out in the future. So that's kind of fun. But that's a Bermuda spin, and I'm not offering my stash up to the world. That's not where I'm going with this. But for friends here in Bermuda, Irina, if you need something, let me know. But that it's really, really, really helpful. And yeah, so that's my little tidbit. I've got some, hopefully in the future we'll talk about how I stash it. The other one that I think is interesting is needle storage and how to do that. I'm not saying my way is the right way, it works for me, and I'd love to share that. So that's something down the road. Yeah, so that's pretty much the weekend, and I know I'm recording this in different segments, so I'll cut it short here. Not that it's short, it's kind of long, and take a break, have a glass of water to rehydrate, and I'm hoping to wear a sweater for the next one, but I'm not sure if I can. It's hot, and with the rain, it's really humid. So the next one that I'm recording is actually probably going to be the first one showing, but who knows? We'll see. You'll know when you watch this, you'll see which is first and which is second, and surprise! So back in a minute. All that on Rhinebeck. It was really fun, and sorry I got really hot while showing that. Hopefully you couldn't see the perspiration too clearly. Gross. I am a sweaty Betty, so apologies, but it's a hot day, and testament to really lightweight fibers. I'm still wearing this linen quill and not dying, so 2 thumbs up, but I'd love to wear it in a month or so when it feels a little bit more appropriate. But anyways, so thanks so much for spending time with me. I did filter in a little bit of Bermuda stories there. I hope you like those. And mostly knitting and knitting travel related. So heavy on that, light on Bermuda. It'll all happen over time, and I hope you have a great day, great weekend, happy knitting, and I'll see you next month. All right, take care. Bye-bye.